Have you ever taken leftovers out of the fridge and reheated them in the microwave? But what if I told you that some of those reheated foods might quietly be doing damage to your body, raising your risk of cancer and damaging your brain? In this video, we're going to uncover 5 common foods that doctors and nutritionists warn should never be reheated, because when you do, they can become toxic. You might be surprised to learn that many of these are foods we think of as healthy. But science shows that certain chemical changes during reheating can lead to the formation of harmful compounds. These compounds have been linked in multiple studies to serious long-term risks, including cancer, digestive problems, and even neurodegenerative conditions like dementia. So if you've ever used the microwave to reheat your lunch or save dinner for the next day, this video might be more important than you think. We're not here to scare you. We're here to help you make smarter choices that protect your health and give you peace of mind. Because the truth is, avoiding just a few dangerous habits in the kitchen could make a huge difference in how you feel today. Stay tuned until the end. Because not only will you learn which 5 foods to avoid reheating, but you'll also understand why, based on real medical science, not myths or hearsay. And once you know what to look for, you'll be better equipped to keep yourself and your loved ones safer every day. Now let's get started. Number 1, reheating spinach releases harmful nitrates. One of the most common foods that people reheat without thinking twice is spinach. It's packed with nutrients, easy to prepare, and often found in everything from omelets to soups and casseroles. But here's the surprising part. If you're reheating spinach, especially in the microwave or on high heat, you may be unknowingly turning it into something harmful. Spinach naturally contains a high concentration of nitrates, which on their own are harmless and even beneficial. In fact, nitrates can support healthy blood flow and help lower blood pressure. But when you reheat spinach, particularly after it's been stored for a while, those nitrates can break down into nitrites, and those nitrites can convert into nitrosamines, which have been closely linked to cancer risk in multiple studies. It's a chemical reaction that happens quietly and invisibly, but its long-term impact can be serious. This is especially concerning for older adults, since our bodies become more sensitive to toxins over time. What once might have had minimal effect in our 30s or 40s could now have a much stronger impact on our cells, especially those involved in brain function or tissue repair. And the risk isn't just theoretical. Nitrosamines are known carcinogens that have been linked not only to gastrointestinal cancers, but also to neurological damage in laboratory research. For example, let's say you made a big batch of vegetable soup on Sunday night and added plenty of spinach to make it healthier. On Monday, you reheat a bowl for lunch. Seems harmless, right? But that reheated spinach, which was full of healthy nitrates the night before, may now contain altered compounds that your body wasn't meant to process repeatedly. And when this habit is repeated over the months and years, it quietly builds up in your system, affecting your body in ways you may not notice right away. It's not about fear. It's about being informed. Once you understand how your everyday habits in the kitchen can influence your long-term health, you gain more control over your well-being. So if spinach is on the menu, make it fresh or eat it cold. Avoid reheating it, especially more than once. Your body, your brain, and your future self will thank you for making that small change today. These silent risks are often overlooked, not because they're unimportant, but because they don't show up right away. But as we age, we learn that it's not just about what we eat, it's about how we prepare and handle our food. Reheating spinach may seem like a small thing, but over time, it can quietly work against your health in ways you'd never expect. Number 2, reheated potatoes can quietly disrupt your health. Another everyday favorite that many people regularly reheat without a second thought is the humble potato. Whether it's mashed, roasted, baked, or turned into a stew, potatoes are comfort food at its finest. But here's what most people don't know. When you cook potatoes, cool them down and then reheat them, something inside them begins to change. And that change isn't always for the better. When potatoes are first cooked, their starches become soft and digestible. But as they cool, those starches begin to reorganize and harden into something called resistant starch. Now, resistant starch isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, in its natural state, it can actually help with digestion and blood sugar regulation. But the problem starts when those cooled potatoes are reheated, especially in the microwave or on high heat. During reheating, especially if it's uneven, certain bacteria, like Clostridium botulinum, can thrive in the oxygen-poor, starchy environment of stored potatoes. This is particularly dangerous if the potatoes were wrapped in foil and left to cool slowly, which creates an even more ideal condition for harmful bacteria to multiply. And while we might not always see the bacteria or smell anything unusual, that doesn't mean they aren't there. Once ingested, these bacteria can cause serious digestive issues and even contribute to neurotoxin exposure in extreme cases. What's more concerning is how this affects your overall health as you age. Your digestive system becomes more sensitive. Your immune system isn't quite as quick to respond. And the brain, which is already vulnerable to inflammation, can suffer when harmful bacteria disrupt the balance of your gut. Medical research increasingly points to the strong connection between gut health and cognitive function. In fact, long-term inflammation in the gut has been linked to higher risk for conditions like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. This doesn't mean you have to give up potatoes forever. Far from it. But it does mean being smart about how you handle them. Serve them freshly cooked when possible. And if you must save leftovers, store them in airtight containers, not in foil, and reheat them thoroughly and evenly, preferably on the stove where you can control the temperature. Avoid reheating them more than once. And when in doubt, it's safer to toss them than take a risk. Your health is too valuable to leave up to chance, especially when it comes to foods that we tend to overlook. Potatoes might seem harmless, and in their fresh form, they are. But the way we handle leftovers matters more than we think. And for older adults who are already working hard to protect their memory, energy, and long-term health, it's worth taking a closer look at how something so simple can have such a large impact. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, reheated eggs may release harmful compounds. Eggs are one of the most versatile and beloved foods in the American kitchen. Scrambled, hard-boiled, sunny side up, they're quick, affordable, and packed with protein. But if you've ever reheated eggs from a previous meal, thinking you were making a smart, healthy choice, it might be time to reconsider. Because reheating eggs, especially in the microwave or at high temperatures, can quietly turn a nutritious meal into something that might harm your body more than help it. Here's why. When eggs are first cooked, their proteins go through a natural process called denaturation. This simply means the proteins unfold and realign into a new structure, something your body can easily digest. But when those already cooked proteins are exposed to heat a second time, especially uneven or intense heat, their structure changes again. And this time the result isn't so friendly. Reheating cooked eggs can lead to the breakdown of sulfur compounds and the formation of oxidized cholesterol, both of which have been linked in medical studies to increased inflammation and, over time, a higher risk of cardiovascular issues. And when you consider how inflammation is a known contributor to cognitive decline, memory problems, and even dementia, this simple habit of warming up yesterday's eggs starts to look a little different. Let's say you hard-boil a few eggs on Sunday to have ready for a quick breakfast throughout the week. On Tuesday, you microwave one for 30 seconds to warm it up before eating. On the surface, it seems harmless. But inside, that egg is undergoing chemical changes. The proteins are becoming tougher, the cholesterol is oxidizing, and the taste might even take on a rubbery or sulfur-like quality. And while the texture may tip you off that something's changed, the more concerning part is what's happening at the microscopic level, beyond what you can see, smell, or taste. Older adults are especially vulnerable to the effects of these changes. As we age, our bodies process fat differently. Our arteries may not be as flexible, and our brains become more sensitive to chronic inflammation. This means that small dietary decisions, like repeatedly eating reheated eggs, can quietly affect our health in larger ways over time. It's not about panic. It's about prevention. And the earlier you're aware of it, the easier it is to avoid the risk. Now, does this mean you have to give up eggs altogether? Absolutely not. Eggs are still one of the most nutrient-rich, brain-supporting foods you can eat when they're fresh. The key is to enjoy them shortly after cooking and avoid storing and reheating them whenever possible. If you do batch cook eggs, try eating them cold or adding them to salads without warming them up again. And if they've been sitting in the fridge too long or seem questionable, it's better to play it safe. The little choices we make, what we reheat, how we store food, and when we decide to just eat it cold can add up to big differences over time, especially when it comes to foods like eggs, where the risks aren't obvious but the consequences can build. You deserve to feel your best, think clearly, and move through your day with ease. And sometimes that starts with something as simple as how you handle your breakfast. Number 4, reheating chicken can trigger hidden inflammation. Chicken is often seen as a safe, healthy choice, lean protein, low fat, and easy to prepare. Many of us make it in large batches and store the leftovers for lunch or dinner the next day. But here's what might surprise you: reheating chicken, especially in the microwave or at high heat, can subtly change the way your body processes it. And over time, that change could quietly contribute to inflammation, digestive distress, and even long-term health concerns. When you first cook chicken, its protein structure transforms in a way that makes it easier for your digestive system to handle. But when you reheat that same chicken, especially unevenly or at too high a temperature, the proteins undergo a second transformation, this time becoming tougher, more rigid, and harder for your body to break down efficiently. And as we age, our digestive systems tend to slow down. This means that foods we once digested with ease can start to cause discomfort, bloating, or sluggishness without us fully realizing why. Beyond digestion, there's another issue that's even more important: inflammation. Medical research has shown that when reheated chicken proteins are broken down in the body, they can release compounds that promote low-grade inflammation. And here's where it gets serious. Inflammation is now understood to be a major contributor, not just to heart disease and joint pain, but also to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia. So while chicken itself is not the problem, how it's handled and reheated can make a very real difference. Picture this: you roast a few chicken breasts on Sunday, keep the leftovers in the fridge, and then pop one into the microwave on Tuesday for a quick lunch. It saves time. It seems efficient. But what you may not see is that the reheated chicken now has a rubbery texture and doesn't quite taste the same. That change in texture reflects deeper changes in the food, changes your body has to work harder to cope with. Over time, this creates stress, not just on your digestion, but potentially on your immune and nervous systems as well. This is especially important for older adults who are already trying to manage joint inflammation, blood pressure, or brain fog. When your body is in a constant state of low-level inflammation, everything feels just a little bit harder. Your energy dips, your memory isn't as sharp, and even your mood can feel off. Avoiding something as simple as reheated chicken might not fix everything, but it's one small way to reduce the burden on your body and support your overall well-being. The bottom line is this: how we prepare our food matters. And while it might not seem like much, choosing not to reheat certain proteins, like chicken, can actually reduce unnecessary stress on your body. Stress that builds up slowly over time and chips away at your health in ways that aren't always obvious. When we're younger, we can get away with these small habits. But as we get older, it pays to be more mindful. Your body has worked hard for you all these years. It deserves a little extra care now. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, mushrooms lose their balance when reheated. Mushrooms are often celebrated for their earthy flavor, rich texture, and surprising health benefits. They're packed with antioxidants, fiber, and even immune-boosting compounds. Whether sautéed into an omelet, simmered in a soup, or served as a side dish, they've earned their place on many dinner plates. But what many people don't realize is that mushrooms are among the most sensitive foods when it comes to reheating. And this sensitivity can lead to more than just a change in taste. It can potentially alter your body's internal chemistry in ways you might not expect. Mushrooms are unique. Unlike many vegetables, they're made up of complex proteins and enzymes that break down rapidly after being cooked. When you reheat them, especially more than once, their protein structure can degrade into compounds that your digestive system has trouble processing. This breakdown can result in digestive discomfort, bloating, or a heavy, sluggish feeling after eating. And for older adults whose metabolism and enzyme levels have naturally shifted with age, these effects can be more noticeable. But the concern goes even deeper. When mushrooms are improperly stored or reheated at uneven temperatures, such as in the microwave, their proteins and fats can oxidize, creating harmful substances, some of which have been linked to increased oxidative stress in the body. And as you may already know, oxidative stress is one of the driving forces behind cellular damage, chronic inflammation, and age-related decline, including memory issues and cognitive dysfunction. Let's look at an example. Suppose you cook a hearty mushroom stew for dinner. It's delicious, savory, and comforting. The next day, you reheat a bowl in the microwave and notice it doesn't quite taste the same. Maybe it feels rubbery or the flavor is oddly muted. What you're tasting isn't just yesterday's dinner, it's the byproduct of protein degradation and chemical transformation. The nutrients that were once so beneficial have shifted, and your body now has to work harder to process what's left. Even the texture gives you clues. Freshly cooked mushrooms are tender, juicy, and rich in flavor. Reheated mushrooms often turn chewy, watery, or slimy, none of which are signs of quality. These physical changes signal that the food's original integrity has been lost, and with it, much of its benefit. There's also a broader pattern that's important to recognize. Many seniors who struggle with bloating, gas, or digestive irregularities don't trace those symptoms back to something as simple as a reheated meal. But digestion starts with the quality of the food and how it's treated after it's cooked. When your body is constantly processing degraded proteins, even in small amounts, the cumulative effects can lead to fatigue, inflammation, and increased susceptibility to illness. It's not about one bad meal, it's about the ongoing wear and tear from repeated exposure. That's why mushrooms, as healthy as they are, should be handled with special care. If you cook them, try to eat them the same day. If you must store leftovers, keep them refrigerated in a sealed glass container and reheat them gently on the stovetop, never in the microwave. Or better yet, enjoy them cold if the recipe allows. A chilled mushroom salad with olive oil and herbs can be just as satisfying and far safer for your digestion and long-term health. Ultimately, small choices add up. Avoiding the reheating of mushrooms may seem like a minor adjustment, but for your body, especially as it ages, it's one less burden to carry. And when you begin to recognize these subtle sources of strain in your daily routine, you give yourself the opportunity to feel lighter, clearer, and more energized. It's these quiet, thoughtful shifts that often make the biggest difference over time. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, I want to encourage you to take a moment to reflect on the 5 foods we've talked about today. What surprised you the most? Which one do you think you've been reheating without realizing the potential risks? And more importantly, how might this new understanding influence the way you handle leftovers moving forward? This isn't about making you afraid of your food. It's about giving you tools, simple, practical tools, to make better choices that support your health in a real and lasting way. Because here's the truth, your body has been working for you, day in and day out, for decades. It deserves care, attention, and respect. And often the biggest difference comes not from major overhauls, but from small shifts. Like choosing not to reheat that bowl of spinach, or taking a second to check how long those mashed potatoes have been sitting in the fridge. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.